This week on the Road with Mickey, Sophie's solo trip to Walt Disney World.
We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike, and she's Sophie.
And she's Brenda.
Hi, everyone.
And he is Grogu. We would be lost if Grogu didn't write our show notes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We
yeah,
love
he is
Grogu.
the scribe of the meeting.
There you go. And we are all on the road with Mickey. This is episode 272 for July 7th, 2025. We're back after a week hiatus because of scheduling and travel and everything like that. But we're back, and our feature topic this week is Sophie's solo trip to Walt Disney World. Yay. So buckle up, get your lightning lane for Guardians of the Galaxy ready. Because
I certainly did.
Because we have got a lot to talk about.
Yay.
Oh,
but
yeah.
First, we have some cheddar from the big cheese. And this week, the theme of the week for cheddar is refurbishment schedules.
Yeah.
All right.
Lots of that happening.
I will start us off. Over at the Magic Kingdom, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin is set to close for refurbishment on August 4th, 2025, with a reopening date scheduled for sometime in 2026. There will be a new show scene and character, enhanced ride vehicles, and improved gameplay.
Ooh.
I heard they're going to take out Mike Ellis's ability to get 999,999 as a score.
They can't do that.
Well, it's only being taken out for me. For everyone else, you can do it, but Mike won't be able to, evidently.
Oh, boy.
Well, the Voyage of the Little Mermaid will also be closing, but it's just for a little small refurbishment from July 21st through 26, 2025. And yes, we know it will affect some of your trips, and I hope it doesn't cause havoc on you. But since it's not long, just plan accordingly.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, last but not least, Spaceship Earth will be closing on August 25th, 2025 for refurbishment as well. The expected reopening date has not been announced, but should be sometime this year. And I have absolutely no clue as to what exactly they're refurbishing. Probably just regular maintenance on some of the animatronics and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing too. I heard something about something with the ride vehicles. Maybe the displays or something are going to get updated, but it's not a super long closure, so it's not going to be a ton of change, I don't think.
Well, we don't know how long the closure is because you didn't give me a reopening date.
Right, but the fact that it's before the end of the year makes
True.
me think it's not a super huge refurbishment.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Maybe they just don't know how long it's going to take yet.
That's true. Who knows? All right. Well, that's our cheddar from the big cheese. And as always, connect with us on our links in the show notes to our Facebook page, our Facebook group, the YouTube channel. Hello, viewers, YouTubers, influencers, whoever's watching.
Yeah.
Instagram, On the Road with Mickey. Our email address, if you want to email us, is info@ontheroadwithmickey.com. And our website, where everything is ontheroadwithmickey.com. So let's get going to the question of the week, shall we?
Yeah.
We shall.
All right. I'll start us off by reading the question, and then we'll go through the answers, because we had 11 responses, including us. So I like feedback. We love feedback.
We
So the
really do.
question of the week is, what is your favorite Pixar short?
Okay, so who's going first?
You spoke, you go.
All right, that's that. We have Chandler who said Bounden, which I recognize all of these ones off the top of my head. That's the one about the jackalope and the little lamb. Um, are we just going down the list? Should I say all of them or should we
Yeah.
take turns?
Let's go around and around.
Oh.
Okay.
Brenda, you're next.
Well, Missy said lava, and somebody else I know really likes lava.
Yep, that would be me. But so does Stephanie M., who also likes lava.
Hmm,
And so does Chrissy, who likes lava as well as the Tin Man toy.
that's a good one.
Brenda?
Heidi said, I love Bow. Yeah, you can't not love Bow. I understand
That's
that.
right.
Bao is such a cute one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my favorite, like I said, is Lava. That's almost like a love song for Cindy and I. Um,
Yeah.
and then Paula said, I like the classic tin toy. So there's a tin toy fan.
Yeah.
Yes, there is two, actually. And then Brenda, our Brenda, said, I love Piper and lava, but I have to say Bao edges out as the winner for me.
There
Yeah.
you go. By a bow. Get it?
If you've lived that
Not
life,
really.
that's the one that touches your heartstrings the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Aunt Brenda's going to say what Tony said.
Tony said, I have to say the bow was adorable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. They all are.
They all are.
And my sister Robin said that she is a huge fan of Piper.
Piper's a good one
That,
too.
yes, I loved that one. That was in the film festival when I was at Disney. That's one of the ones that we watched. And
Oh.
last but not least, obviously the most important answer here, my answer, my favorites are Bow and Day and Night, which I didn't see on our list. So let's see here. I'm going to count up really quick. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I count 5 mentions for lava. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 mentions for bow, and it looks like the Tin Man toy is the third place with 2. So we have a top 3 here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yep.
there you go. As always, I win.
Great question, Sophie.
It was a
Thank
great
you.
question.
You
I
win the
love
movie
these
prize, Mike.
questions. I won what?
The movie prize.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad that question was a good one. I like having all this feedback. It's
I do
nice not to
too.
just be talking to myself and these two geezers.
Yeah.
Brenda's not a geezer. I'm the geezer.
You're right. Me, Aunt Brenda, and the geezer.
There you go. There you go.
That is
Well,
priceless.
it is now time to move on to our feature topic, Sophie's solo trip to Walt Disney World. So, Sophie, you take it from here.
Oh, jeez. You're not gonna, you're just gonna sit there and listen?
Well, I don't know yet. Why don't you give us an opening monologue? Kind of like a stand up
Uh,
comedian or a talk show host for a TV show, late night TV or something.
um,
I don't know.
okay. All
Brenda,
right,
how
fine.
should we do this? How should we do this,
I
Brenda?
want to hear all about it from point A to point B. Seeing
Well,
obviously she flew.
okay, I can do that. Okay, so let's start on the 23rd. June
Okay.
23rd, 3:30 a.m.
Oh
is
my.
when I wake up, and I wake up my dad too. I grab all of my stuff that I packed and we drive to the Raleigh-Durham airport, and I hop on a plane at 6:05, and I'm smart because I booked the day before, so I was able to snag myself an aisle seat near the front of the plane. So I was one of the first people off,
Oh,
which is
wow.
always a
Nice.
good one. I will
I agree.
always take the aisle seat if I can.
Me too. Me too.
Really? I love the window seat. I thought you were gone for a window seat, Sophie.
I'll go for the window seat when there's a whole row available, but if it's just me and the plane is semi-full, then I'm like, let me just take an aisle seat so that way I'm the first one off.
There you go. Makes
So
sense.
anyway, I fly in, my flight lands early at 7:43 instead of 7:50, which is when it was scheduled. I grab some Starbucks and I head to the Mirrors Connect bus where I immediately hop on my bus for Pop Century. And once I get there, I drop off my bag with the concierge people. They put my name on it and everything, and I tell them I will be back tonight and I will go straight to my room. If you could just leave it there for me, that would be great. And they do that. And so my first day starts off in Animal Kingdom, actually. I hopped on a bus after buying a stick of sunscreen from the Everything Pop store. I go to Animal Kingdom and I actually get there with a few minutes to spare before my Lightning Lane for Flight of Passage pulls up because, yes, I did use Lightning Lane a lot while I was on this trip. And Flight of Passage was my first ride.
Nice.
I
Mm-hmm.
actually, the way that the Lightning Lane works for the most part is you have your own line that you start out in and then it merges back into the main line further down the queue so you can kind of skip ahead of people. That's the whole point. Well, not even 10 feet into the main line, like after I merged and stuff, I was about, by this point, 75% of the way through the queue and they called for a solo person. And I was like,
Yay.
wait, I'm a solo person. I'm a solo person. Me. And there was still like 40 something feet of line left to go through. And so they were like, all right, everybody, make way, solo rider coming through. And I got to skip all these people. I was in and out of Flight of Passage in 15 minutes.
Fantastic.
It was fantastic. And that's the beauty of being a solo rider at Disney World, you can work very efficiently through all of the parks, like almost all of the parks.
Yeah.
Because there's no party that you need to stick to, you can go as much as you like, and you can bob and weave, and you can skip so many people waiting in line to ride with their families. And that's something that I noticed a lot during my trip was that efficiency that I took full advantage of. I got so much done on this
Yay.
trip. Um, After Flight of Passage, I made my way to Africa using the shortcut so that I could see the Festival of the Lion King. But keep in mind, by this time it was somewhere around 10 a.m. and whatnot, and I was starting to feel the heat. It was very, very hot
That's the
while I
hottest
was down
part.
there
Yeah.
in Florida. Oh no, Animal Kingdom is by no means the hottest park.
Oh God, it is to me. I sweat like buckets when I'm in that park in the summertime.
Well, yeah, but I was sweating more at Hollywood Studios and Epcot. The beauty of Animal Kingdom is that it has a whole bunch of trees. But anyway, it was still hot, so
Mm-hmm.
and I realized I had forgotten my fan, so I went and got myself one. This one is cocoa themed, and I'm starting to build up a collection.
You can take it on the ship because there's a Coco restaurant.
There
Yep.
you go.
Yeah. I've
Ha
got a Coco fan, I've got a Haunted Mansion fan, I've
Well,
got
there
a
you go.
regular fan. I've got three so far, and it's gonna keep growing because I'm gonna keep forgetting to bring them.
You're just going to have one for every part of the ship.
Exactly. Exactly. So anyway, and the beauty of that fan is it helped me make 5-minute friends is what I'm calling them because they're people I'm never going to see again. Unfortunately, that's very sad, but they were fun to talk to while I was standing next to them in line. And so I went, grabbed my fan, and I was waiting for the Festival of the Lion King, and I actually met this very, very sweet lady. I did not get her name, she didn't get mine, but I learned that she was from Texas.
Yay!
Ah,
Whoop,
no wonder she was sweet, right, Brenda?
whoop.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yep, she was there with her daughter and her daughter's husband and their children, and I think her daughter's husband's sister or whatnot, and her children as well. It was a whole giant party, and
Yeah.
they were all going to see a Festival of the Lion King, and I did not expect this, but whenever people asked me if I was there alone, I would be like, yeah, and they would be surprised for some reason. I thought it was completely normal for you to go to Disney on your own because I remember talking to so many people when I was with my parents or my friends, and they'd be like, yeah, I'm here on a solo trip. And I'd say, oh, that sounds fun. And I never thought, oh, wow, this isn't normal? Like, a whole
Well,
bunch
it's
of
a
people
family
don't do that?
destination. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
more of a
yeah.
family destination.
So anyway, very sweet people. Uh, I was going to go for Expedition Everest, but the single rider line was closed.
Oh,
Ah,
goodness.
I know. I was very,
Was the
not,
line long?
sad.
yeah, sad. We're not gonna say upset. The line was long, and so I decided I wasn't going to do that, especially since I had forgotten it, but I had a lightning lane for Tower of Terror over in Hollywood Studios at like 2 something, and by this point it was about 12.
Ooh,
And so I knew I had to be out of Animal Kingdom in order to get to a dining reservation that I had at 3 in Hollywood Studios. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go early, see if there's anything I can do to pass the time in the other park. So I hopped back on my bus. I went back to Pop Century. I went and got on the Skyliner, and that was very nice. The breeze was very cooling, especially over Hourglass Lake. I used the Skyliner a lot while I was there, which is why I love Pop Century so much. My room was still not ready. That's fine. So anyway, I go to Hollywood Studios. I go on Tower of Terror. It's great.
yes, it
I
is.
find a bunch of other ways to kill the time while I'm there. I actually think that my first day was probably the least efficient of my park days for this trip, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because if you think it's hot in Animal Kingdom, Aunt Brenda, it is even hotter at Hollywood Studios because Hollywood Studios and Epcot are all concrete, and
Yeah,
that concrete bakes, and then it bakes the air, and it's just very, very hot. So by the time I was ready to go to my dining reservation, I was probably overheated, which time for
Dangerous.
it is very dangerous, but it's also time for a cast member shout out. Her name was Denora, and she was my waitress at Hollywood and Vine because I wanted to get the dining package for Fantasmic, so Hollywood and Vine was the place where I ate, and she saw me sit down and she's like, "You look extremely overheated and dehydrated." And I'm like, "Yes, please, water, please, as much as you can get me." She brought me 2 glasses of ice cold water, and while I was drinking one, once one was finished and I started drinking the other, she would fill up the first glass. So I never had a lack of water at my table, and that was so, so nice. I drank 4 glasses of water while I was eating.
that's good.
Yeah.
It was very good, and it was very cool inside that restaurant, and I actually need to pull up some pictures because I got pictures with the characters because Hollywood and Vine is a character dining. So here we go. 1 second. I'm going to share my screen once I figure out how to do that again.
See where the
More.
little arrow says share?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Huh?
Okay. Where is it? All right, guess we're sharing the entire screen. Here we go. We have
Cute.
Goofy, and this is a recreation of a photo from when I was little. Here's another one because there was a little kid in this one, but I still think it's a good one.
Cute.
Some girls at another table were kind enough to take the photo for me. Then we have Pluto. Here we go. Ignore my bushes for twin braids.
Cute.
It was very, very sweet. And then we have Minnie, of course,
Aw.
looking fabulous as always.
Yeah.
Fab.
Absolutely
Looking
gorgeous,
fab.
she does. And
Cute.
then there's Mickey.
Aw.
He was so sweet.
He is sweet.
And then last but not least, the most important picture of all. Oh, wait, no. Did I get rid of the bread pudding picture? Hang on. There was bread pudding while I was here. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
you
here it
sent it
is.
to us.
Yes. Most importantly of all, bread pudding does not look appetizing on camera, but is very appetizing in my belly.
There you
Good.
go.
Bread pudding is the bomb.
I'm
The
finding so
bomb.
many bread pudding places, but no,
Yay.
it was wonderful. I also got to see Beauty and the Beast live on stage. That was very fun. But
Nice.
yes, so after I ate, by that point it was, I want to say, sometime between 4:15, 4:30. So I kept on plugging away, looking at all of my lightning lanes, which is mainly how I timed my day, which was a little bit hectic for Hollywood Studios, but it was good. I made my way through Toy Story Land. I did go on Galaxy's Edge. I went through the Rise of the Resistance single rider line, which
Awesome.
uh, I now understand what they mean when they say it's a modified riding experience, because especially for that ride, so much of the ride itself is actually in the pre-shows and the line queue, and by skipping all of that, you do miss out on a lot of the theming that makes the ride so, so good, because it's meant to be an immersive experience. When you go through the single rider line, you actually go in through the back way, and they have a hidden passage from that takes you from Batu, which is where you start out, straight into the First Order Star Destroyer. There's no shuttle, there's no
Oh.
Oh,
space fight,
wow.
nothing. You just
Ah.
immediately go from natural rock and foliage to cold steel and black and gray and white.
And that is
Good to
why
know.
you don't do that if you've never ridden Rise before.
Yeah.
You need to
Never,
see the
ever, ever.
yeah, because you need to experience everything. You need to see Ray calling you to be part of the resistance.
That's right.
Yeah,
And you need to see it all.
you
It's
need to
just
see the shuttle
phenomenal.
that's taking you up into space. You need to see the
Mhm.
First Order capture you
Yeah.
in order to make it feel real, which once you got inside, it still felt kind of real. It was still very fun, very immersive. The cast members who ushered me to join the rest of the line further into the queue, obviously, they were still in character. It was actually really cool to see the line queue from a perspective that most people have not seen before. And the
Cool.
funniest thing, I specifically remember the cast member who was escorting me towards my loading group saying, "Make a path, people, Solo's walking." It was funny.
That's
That's the thing
cute.
about Star Wars. They will always make that pun with single riders.
That's cute.
Yeah.
It was very, very funny,
That is
and it was
very
still
cute.
a very fun ride. But I will say this, I did go back the next day, the 24th, and the single rider line was closed, most likely because by the time I got there, it was already after 7 p.m. when I was ready to join the line. And that's something I noticed about Hollywood Studios. After I got done with the back half of the park and I was going back towards the center and the front to sort of meander my way to where I needed to be for Fantasmic, I still had my one Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway pass that I needed to use. I went on that ride. It was fun,
Yeah.
but I had a lot of time to kill between Mickey and Minnie and Fantasmic, and so I was like, I have not seen the new stage shows at Hollywood Studios, the new Little Mermaid one and the new Villains show. I didn't get to see them because they were only showing up until 7 p.m. when the park closes at 9. And I think that's because they were live stage shows. Like Beauty and the Beast live on stage, I saw that one earlier in the day. It only runs till 7. And so that's a big thing about Hollywood Studios. A lot of the live shows, and by extension, a lot of the attractions that are near them, will stop running around 7 p.m. So there's only so much you can do after that 7 p.m. mark. So I just found myself waiting.
How long was the line to get into Fantasmic if you didn't have the Fantasmic dining package?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that. I had the package, and so I was special.
Oh, because I'm thinking they're giving people a chance to get into line for that because you used to have to get into line for that like an hour and a half before it started.
Well, yeah, I did see a line.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it would have taken for everyone to get in, but I know one thing. I am never not using a dining package to see Fantasmic ever
Yeah,
again. I will pay an arm and a leg if that's what it takes for me to get into that show because the preferred seating really does make a difference,
it
I
really does.
think.
I agree. I think you're absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that leads me to the grand finale of day one, which was Fantasmic. I had never seen it before, but oh my gosh. You guys know how I talk about Harmonious when it was at Epcot?
Yeah.
That used to be my absolute favorite show at Disney World. Fantasmic beats it for me.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I
Well,
was blown away. There was
that's
so
awesome.
much going on with it. Obviously, they have the live actors, but they also have elements that remind me of World of Color, which is why I loved Harmonia so much. Um,
Yeah.
but there are so many cool stunts there. There are multiple times in the show, Daddy, where the live actors that are playing like Mickey Mouse and whatnot appear out of thin air. And when I was on the Skyliner with a whole bunch of people who had also seen it and we were going back to our resorts, I'm like, so how did they make that work? How do they do that? And they're like, don't spoil the magic because we don't know either.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is such a good show. It really, really
Mhm.
is. I'm glad I got to see it. I pray it
Yay.
never goes away,
That's great.
and I really want Mommy to be able to see it too sometime.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. So, is this a segue to your question of the week?
Yes, it is. My question of the week, as Daddy has kind of hinted to with his words, what is your favorite nighttime spectacular, past or present?
All
Obviously, you
right.
know what mine is,
Yep.
and
Sophie's
what
is.
mine was. So, Daddy, Aunt Brenda,
Well, uh, I mean, I really like World of Color at Disneyland.
that
I
is a
really,
good one.
really love that one. I also really like the holiday shows. I mean, the holiday nighttime shows during the Christmas holidays at Disney. So if you're talking about holidays, it'd probably be, I guess, the one on the castle, especially if it was Castle Dreamlights, which it never will be again. But that was my all-time favorite after Osborne, which is gone forever. Um, if I had to list one for all time, it would be Osborne.
Okay, that's a good one. And it doesn't need to be all time, it's just whichever one speaks to you now.
Yeah, Osborne is a part of my heart. Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights. It was amazing.
I'm
The
glad
World
you
of
like
Colors,
it.
Denise. World of
It
Colors.
is. World of Color also has a place in my heart because that was for my Sweet 16. I had gone to California to stay with Jagan and Aunt Sheila and Uncle Randy, and we had a reservation at Disneyland, and I happened to turn 16 at California time is 7:47 p.m. Eastern time is 10:47 p.m. So I turned 16 while I was in that restaurant, and then after we got done, we went and we had preferred viewing for World of Color. So that was literally the first attraction I did after turning 16.
Yay.
Like if we're
That's a
counting
good
the
one.
minutes, it is a good one.
Yeah.
It's a very good one, and it's a beautiful show.
Yeah.
So, Daddy,
So
what's yours?
I have several. From the past, I think I would have to say Wishes and also Illumination's Reflection of Earth. I think
Okay.
those two are two of my favorites. And for Illuminations, it's as much the music as it is the actual fireworks and lasers and fire and everything. It,
Yeah.
I also loved though Harmonious, and I do wish they had not taken it away. But that's in the past, so we'll not look back in bitterness on that. Um, right now, though, I think my favorite nighttime spectacular for current time, and I think this qualifies. So correct me if you don't think it does, but I want to say the Candlelight Processional with the
Definitely a nighttime
That
music
spectacular.
qualifies.
and
Yeah.
the music and the scripture and just proclaiming God's word in the middle of Epcot for
Yeah.
so many people have no idea what they're about to
Yeah.
hear. And we always talk about sharing a smile and you don't know whose life that might change. Well, with the candlelight processional, you have no idea who might be transformed from from just being there to witness it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So the candlelight processional, I think.
Yay.
But I also love the parades, Boo and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the parade with Santa Claus and the Very Merry Christmas
Yeah.
Party. I mean, those are
There's so
so
many
well
nighttime
done.
fun things.
They're so well done. I miss um oh gosh, what is it? The original one, Sophie, our favorite. Electric Light Parade. I miss the
Main
Electric
Street
Light.
Electrical
Yeah.
Parade.
Yes, that
That
thing.
one is very good. You know what, Daddy? The water pageant that goes through the
Hmm.
Seven Seas Lagoon,
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
one reminds me of that. So I don't miss it
Yeah.
quite as much, but I do miss it still.
What
yeah.
is your favorite, Sophie?
I already said Fantasmic.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that's what you were going to say.
Oh yeah, Fantasmic is my favorite right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great
Well
question.
then,
It was
well
a
then,
great
can
question.
you believe that we are only on to day one? There is still so much I need to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, everybody,
Um,
please write in your answers to Sophie's question. She's going to post it really soon. It'll already be posted when you get this episode.
yes, it
Yep.
will. Because Daddy is very, very good about doing that.
Yes.
Day two, I
Doing it
really
right
need
now,
to
in fact.
I need to speed up because we're already like past the half hour mark here. Okay, so day two, and arguably one of the most exciting, I think, in terms of trying new things for me, because, well, specifically food, because day 2 was really my food day, if that makes sense. Uh, I started out in Epcot. I went to France first. I actually got there a little bit before the park opened for the general public, so I was enjoying some of the um, early park access that resort guests can get,
Yay.
and nothing was open in World Showcase while I was there for that first half hour or so, which was fine by me because I actually took the opportunity to go around World Showcase and just get some very pretty pictures. I started in France, as I said, and I'm going to share my screen again because that went so well last time. So
Yeah.
we started in France, and I just went and I got pictures of all the pavilions because I just really
Nice.
like them. I really like them all. They're so pretty, almost all the pavilions, that is. So I got France, and then we went to Morocco. It was very, very fun. I went in a little bit towards the backside, and I was looking for the place where you could see the Tower of Terror from Morocco. I did not find it. I think that's not actually in the pavilion. But anyway, then I went to Japan. There was absolutely nobody there, as I said before. And so it was very nice to get all these scenic shots. I
Yeah.
got a picture of this Zen garden, which actually this building in the back that you can see there is actually where I had lunch. I had never been there before. It was very, very delicious. I think it's
Yay.
called Kiramasu Grill. And they've got a koi pond. Then we went to Italy. I didn't stop too much in Italy because they were doing work on like the replica of the clock tower there, Poseidon's fountain. Oh, this was part of Germany, so I'm going to just ever so slightly. There we go. We got Germany's
Yay.
trains. Got that for you, Daddy.
Thank you.
I still don't know what that sign says.
That's
And
the
there was a
best.
kid blowing bubbles. So yeah, Germany. I walked all the way around World Showcase, so I was definitely getting my steps in for the day. They have
That's a
a
good
teddy
thing.
bear store. They
Cute.
have a teddy bear store
Nice.
with clocks. It reminds me of Pinocchio, which Pinocchio is from Germany, so that makes sense.
Yep.
I
Cute.
just really like it. China, my absolute favorite. Actually, in my first attraction for the day because by now the park was starting to open up a little bit. I was trying so hard to get a picture of this gate without people in the back, but that's fine. By then I was getting tired, so I went and I just sort of meandered around and I found this garden in the China Pavilion. So, so pretty. Like, look at that. That's beautiful.
Uh-huh. It
Beautiful.
sure is.
I got this shot, which might become my new phone background. I'm not sure. I really love the China Pavilion. It's arguably my favorite. This is the inside
Hmm.
because that's just beautiful. Okay, I will stop sharing now. So yeah, Reflections of China, that was my first one. I walked all the way around again. I went to Mexico. I rode the Three Caballeros. It was
Yay!
nice. Yes, it was. And I actually discovered something while I was in Mexico.
Hey! I got a question.
Yes?
Did you know there's a hidden Mickey on
Yes.
on Three Caballeros?
Yes. Two,
Okay,
actually.
just making sure you knew that because not everyone does.
There are actually two.
I know the smoke
The
and
smoke in the
also
volcano
and
and
also
the drums on the Donald parade boat.
yep.
Yes, it was very, very nice. I enjoyed the ride very much, and I actually got the whole front row of a boat to myself. But
Nice.
something else I discovered while I was there.
Uh huh.
Um, there's this app. It's called the Disney Play app, and in it there are many, many games. that you can play while you're in the Disney parks, and one of them is a DuckTales themed scavenger hunt. So you've got Donald, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Scrooge McDuck, all of their gang from the show that's on Disney Plus. And what I learned is with that scavenger hunt, if you play through the game, I didn't get a picture of it. I really should have, but my phone was in use in order to trigger this. There are hidden animatronics in the World Showcase pavilions of DuckTales characters that you can find. And the one that I found was in Mexico, and it was Scrooge McDuck. He peeked his head up over the top of a building in the night market, and he said something, and everyone was looking around like, what the heck was that? And there was this kid there, and he's like, whoa, what's that up there? Do you guys see that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, sorry, I triggered that. And they're like, you what? And I said, yeah, here, I'll do it again. Hang on. Stand right here and watch. So I triggered it again, and the kids' minds were blown, and so was mine.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Neat.
We need to get into that, don't we, Brenda?
I
Yeah.
have the app on my
Start
phone.
playing with the phone.
Yeah, it was very, very nice. So
That's
anyway,
cool.
after I had lunch, I also went on the American Adventure. I saw the show. It's just as wonderful as I remembered it being. After lunch, after the American Adventure, I decided that I was kind of done with Epcot because it was getting so, so hot. It felt like it was hotter than it was at Hollywood Studios. And I had made the mistake of wearing a tennis skirt to the park, so my thighs were chafing really bad. Sorry if that's TMI or anything, but I was very uncomfortable. So I went back to my resort. I texted my dad, I'm going back to my resort for a nap and some air conditioning and a cold shower. I had 3 cold showers during my trip. It was nice. Um,
What did you eat at Epcot for lunch?
oh, right, Kiramasu Grill. That's a place I'd never eaten before. I had teriyaki chicken and shrimp with broccoli and rice, and it was very, very good.
Oh, that's right. That was in the
Yeah,
China? China, Japan?
Japan,
Japan.
Japan.
That
Right.
was
Japan.
great.
So,
Yes,
inquiring minds want to know, did you have a baguette for your old man?
I did not have a baguette, but I
Uh-huh.
did get into Les Halles. Les Halles, that's the French restaurant that everyone always wants to get into. I was going to rope drop it for breakfast, but I decided against it because I didn't know if it was part of the dining plan that I had. So I instead got myself a free breakfast at my resort, and I didn't want to rope drop it when I wasn't even hungry and there was a huge line. So I instead decided I would run by it on my way out of the park, and I got myself a little strawberry tart that I took with me back to my room, and I
Mm,
enjoyed there after having a shower.
Okay.
nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes, and I just hung out in my room for an hour or two that day, but then after that, I decided I want to go ride Rise of the Resistance again, so I hopped back on the Skyliner and went to Hollywood Studios. Oh, the joys of park hopping.
Yeah.
And I had my second first time meal experience at a restaurant for the day, and that was for dinner. Uh, I found the quick service restaurant in Galaxy's Edge because before, I think my dad and I were just like, the only quick service option here is that Ronto Roasters place, and they don't even have a lot of food.
The
But I
docking
Well,
found
station or
it.
Oga's, you can get food too.
But Oga's
yeah.
isn't quick service.
Oga's
You
in the
need
docking
to,
station.
yeah, so point is, we knew about Docking Bay 7, we just thought it was the same thing as Ronto's, and Oga's you need to wait into like a long line to get into, but I found Docking Bay 7, and what I had there was absolutely delicious. I told Mommy all about it because I think she would like it. I had Andorian chicken dip yip, and it's like broasted chicken with grilled vegetables and mac and cheese, and it was delicious. It was
Yay.
absolutely delicious. It was cool in there. It was quiet. Not a lot of people seem to know about it, but also a lot of people do. It just felt very secluded, which I like. I like a lot. So after that, I went on Rise of the Resistance, and as I said, the single rider line was closed, probably because they didn't have the cast members and whatnot to keep it open at the time. So I just went through the regular standby line, and all was well. And then I went back to my room.
All right.
Nice.
And then last day in the parks, Magic Kingdom. I'm going to tell you right now, I was never back in my hotel room before 9 p.m., like for the night. I was never turning in before 9. Uh, First day, I got back to my hotel room somewhere between 10:30 and 11. Second day, I got back to my hotel room around 9:30. Third day, I was out partying like a madman until 10:30, and then I went to bed at 11. And it was fun. And
Yeah.
my parents are jealous of me, and I know that because my mom was very mad at me for a picture that I sent her on my last day. So anyway, Magic Kingdom
What
Day,
picture was that?
the one of the beignets from the French Quarter.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, those are fighting words.
I know. So anyway, Magic Kingdom Day, I get in, all is well. I immediately honor my promise to my father and I go and ride the train all the way around. And then I ride it 2/3 of the way around so that I can get to Tomorrowland for my Tron Lightning Lane. I work my way through Tomorrowland. I see the People Mover. I see the Carousel of Progress, Tron. Uh, I work my way through Fantasyland. I did a whole lot of walking all of these days, mainly because I was working with the flow of the lightning lanes as opposed to choosing them based on where I was. Well, I tried my best, but lightning lanes will have you walking a lot. And I don't think, all in all, I think I only did one like long line at Magic Kingdom without a lightning lane, and that was Seven Dwarfs because that's a single pass experience and I didn't have a single pass for it. So I waited it out and it was like an hour, and that was the longest line I had to deal with while I was there.
That's good. I mean, an
That's
hour is
very
not that
good.
bad compared to like
Uh-uh.
all the rest being, you know,
Yeah.
multi-pass. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I rode so many rides. I rode a lot of them multiple times, actually. Mickey's PhilharMagic, I rode that twice. I did the Enchanted Tiki Room, I think 3 times, and I did the new Country Bears show twice in a row, and then a third time as I was, making my way out of the parks. And it was all really, really fun. I did get on It's a Small World, and I did take pictures of all of our favorite It's a
Yay.
Small World characters. And one last screen share. I know it sucks. I got the Goose Girl for you, Aunt
Thank
Brenda.
you.
She is who I think we thought Bo Peep was,
Yeah.
because she's got the shepherd's crook. I got 2 pictures of her. I got my Jewish bride and groom.
Sweet.
Very, very pretty. I couldn't get a good angle of the bride, I don't think, but she does look very, very pretty, I still
Yeah.
think. I got Daddy's hippo.
Oh,
And by the
Gloria.
way, Daddy,
Gloria.
I am about to ruin your entire day because look what she did for me.
She winked at you, didn't she?
She winked at me. And
Ah.
you were not there, so I'm sorry, but I'm afraid Gloria is unfaithful.
Evidently.
I'm
Evidently.
sorry.
It's
well,
okay.
either that or she always was faithful, but it was to you and not to your dad.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Problem is, I don't do girls.
There you go. Good idea.
Maybe she can't tell the difference.
That's true. She's a hippo.
Right.
Bigger problem is, I don't do hippos.
There you go. Okay. Changing the subject.
Changing the subject indeed. So yes, after I got done with the parks, let me think. Where did I have lunch? Oh, right, Columbia Harbor House. It
Yeah.
was delicious. I actually went into Memento Mori after I got done with that because I wanted to wait on my Haunted Mansion Lightning Lane because the line was like 40 minutes, which is ridiculous, but oh well. And I met this guy. I don't know his name, but I do remember he was buying a little plush raven because they sell that in Memento Mori because Memento Mori is the Haunted Mansion gift shop. And he told me he had two already, so this would make the third one. And their names were Edgar Allan and Poe,
Oh, cute.
which I think is so cute. And I was almost inspired to buy two for myself and name them Mary and Shelley.
Cute.
So anyway, after that, I got done, I want to say around 9 o'clock. There was a lightning storm coming in, and so the fireworks were canceled, which is fine. I didn't want to see them anyway. But I hopped on the bus for the French Quarter. I made absolutely certain that it was the bus for the French Quarter.
There's a story behind that. If you don't know about it, it was a few episodes ago.
I will
Yeah,
tell
what
you
you need to
about it.
do, what you no, what you need to do,
No?
listeners, is just go through and watch every
That's
YouTube
right.
of all of our episodes, and then
That's
you'll
right.
find it.
Oh, come on. I want to tell the story.
Okay.
All right. Don't worry, Daddy. It was once in what, 23 years of us going?
Yep.
Yep. So the story is this. It was, I
A
think,
dark and stormy night.
yeah, it was probably at the Halloween party, I think. And we decided that we wanted beignets. And so we were going to hop on a bus to the French Quarter and get ourselves some beignets. Well, I was like, "Oh, look, Daddy, I see a bus at the stop for the French Quarter." And he was like, "Okay, run ahead and make 'em wait for us." So I did just that. And the bus waited for us. We all got on it. And after the bus had left the station, I'm like, "Man, I'm really excited for beignets." And he's like, "Yeah, we should be at the French Quarter soon." And the people on the bus were like, "French Quarter? This is going to Saratoga Springs."
Oh God.
And we're like, "What?" And Daddy, to this day, swears that the bus said French Quarter.
Yes, I do, and I believe I was correct.
And I, to this day, remind Daddy that it was once in 20 some years of us going to Disney that we got on the wrong bus.
And yet,
Still
it
talking
said
about
French
it.
Quarter. It said
Yeah.
French Quarter. So,
So, anyway, after we made it to Saratoga Springs, we had friends who were locals who were kind enough to fetch us an Uber to take us to the French Quarter instead. And we got our beignets, and they tasted twice as good as normal.
yes.
Who were you with, Sophie?
Aunt Sheila and Jagan and Uncle Randy.
Oh,
They
I
came
didn't
over.
realize.
They
I
came
didn't
over
realize.
and picked us up at Saratoga, and we drove over to the
Oh,
French Quarter.
I'm sorry. I thought she was talking about this trip. Sorry.
Oh,
No,
no.
no,
This
no,
is the
Yeah.
that past trip. Yeah.
Okay, I
no.
thought she was
This
back
was,
to her day's recap.
no,
Sorry.
this is me, and only me.
Gotcha.
And so, yes, I closed out my final night with some beignets. They were
Oh,
delicious. I sent my mom a photo, and she did not reply, probably because she was very mad that she did not have her own.
probably because she was asleep.
Probably because at this
That
point
might
it
have
was
been it.
10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
That might have been it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
so
anyway, after that, I hop on the bus, I go back to Magic Kingdom, I get on my bus to my resort with 10 billion other people because the fireworks were canceled, so everyone was leaving. I make it back to my resort, which, by the way, I stayed in the 90s building this time around, and it was very, very tiresome. I do not like having to walk that far.
Yeah.
Oh well. So anyway, after that, the night ends. I call Daddy at like 11:30 at night because I can't fit everything in my suitcase, but I managed to make it work because Daddy
Yep.
can't help me. And then the next day,
Nope.
I leave for home. My flight also gets canceled and then gets rebooked for Atlanta instead of Baltimore. So it was yet another um, bit of chaos to add to an otherwise very nice trip. But I want to close out with this one thing. Something I didn't account for on a solo trip is that I actually got rather lonely.
Hmm.
I got very, very lonely. And that's something that I don't think you realize when you're at Disney because you're like, you're at Disney. Like, it's constant entertainment as far as the eye can see. And in my dad's words, the world is my oyster. My poached oyster because it was so hot, but yes, I got lonely. And so I am very glad I went. I don't think I want to go on my own again. I want to have someone with me.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
and I think everybody's got their own level of
Hmm.
contentment when they're on their own, and you have a very, very loving heart. So one of
Yeah,
the most wonderful things about being at Disney is sharing it with your loved ones, and that
yeah.
is what you miss. Yeah, because some people don't, everybody's different. So, but yeah, you're very loving. So you would, of course, want to share the memories with your loved ones.
hmm
Yeah.
That being
And
said, I do enjoy my alone time, and I do enjoy exactly how much I got done on this trip. It was a very, very productive trip.
Yay.
and one last thing that Brenda has some advice for you, Sophie.
Yeah?
Right, Brenda? About bringing an empty suitcase, maybe?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Did she
That would
need
have.
Listen,
that?
Daddy, I didn't buy that much.
And yet you were having trouble getting it into your bag.
That's because it was fragile and I didn't want to, stuff it in and risk it breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
better to have an additional bag.
the phrase she used when she called me at 11:30 at night or 11:45 was, I may or may not have bought some things.
Listen, listen. And for those who are wondering, some things equates to 2 mugs, a very pretty necklace which I wore around my neck, and the fan, and maybe a little thing of matcha tea from Japan. So
No
not
lounge
Not
fly?
much.
bad.
No,
Not
no
No
bad.
lounge
lounge
fly.
fly, Mike.
No lounge fly this time.
She
Well,
had
I
total
already
restraint.
I already had brought 4 with me.
Yeah, she
I
did.
It
had a
sounds like a
lounge fly
great,
for every
great
day I
trip,
was there.
Sophie.
It
Sounds
was a
great.
great trip.
It was sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It
Awesome.
And
was.
I'm glad you were able to make that trip,
And
Sophie.
we're
Make it
glad you're back
happen.
safe. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, I am going to close the book
Okay.
on that feature topic. And
Good idea.
now it is time for Sophie to continue her dissertation on this day in Disney history for July 7th.
All right.
Sophie, take it away, honey.
Well, this combines uh, partially what I was talking about with Beauty and the Beast live on stage and Broadway. Uh, the year is 1998. July 7th, 1998. Disney's Beauty and the Beast plays its 1762nd performance,
Wow.
excuse me, on Broadway, of course. This breaks the previous record, making it the longest running show ever at the Palace Theater in New York City.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
That's
awesome.
that's like what was the show that was in the parks that was the longest running show ever?
Carousel of Progress?
No, well, that, but I was thinking of the stage show over in, is it Adventureland or
The Indiana Jones Stunt
n-
Spectacular?
no, that's in Hollywood Studios.
The
There was
longest show ever. What are you talking about?
I gotta do a little quick research.
I'm wondering what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The Diamond Horseshoe or something like that.
Oh, the review
Oh,
over there?
with the Frontierland.
That was the longest running? I didn't even know.
Well, I thought I remembered hearing that. Anyway,
Well, thank
anyway,
you,
there.
Sophie. That's awesome.
Yeah. So back
That
to the
Broadway
show.
production's coming to Houston.
Is
for
it really?
Nice.
Are you going to be able to go see it?
Oh, it's like $332 a seat, and I can't go by myself,
Wow.
and I can't. I have absolutely. I am not happy, to say the least, with how much everybody wants to charge people to come see their show. I think it's ridiculous. We used to pay $15 a ticket to go to a concert. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
can't even.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I
no,
hear
I
ya.
don't. Put my foot down.
Oh.
Boom. Since I can't afford it, I won't go.
There you go.
So what I'm
Well, I
hearing
don't know.
is
I'd be
Aunt
going either
Brenda.
for that pricing. You know.
So what I'm hearing is when I find a more reasonably priced Broadway musical, I need to buy a ticket for Aunt Brenda as a gift for her birthday or
There
something.
you go.
Oh.
Because I
Not at
really
that
would.
price. That's just.
Well, I would really like to go see a Broadway musical, and I know the tickets are expensive, but what are you
But
gonna
even when
do?
I went to New York and went to when I went to Broadway plays in New York, they were not that expensive. They were not as expensive as this. Of course, that was, a few years ago.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Not
I'm
that
just
long.
doing a
Of
quick
course
little
ago.
Google search.
I think it was around 2000, maybe 2006. So it was, it was a long time ago, but still.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Are we ready to stump
Time
the
to
Soph?
stump the Soph.
You've had an extra week to get your ducks in a row, old man.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then
That's right, you old geezer.
and I didn't look it up until like 2:59 Eastern time. And when we start recording at 3. Okay.
It doesn't matter anyway because she would get it no matter when you chose it.
Right. So let's see here, Sophie. This character brings Italian flair, passion, and fast talking to the stage.
Italian flair.
Mhm.
This is Pixar. Luigi?
Is it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh my gosh.
Yay!
So, note to self, Sophie buys the easiest book to figure out who the character might be in the history of trivia.
Daddy, listen.
I love the book though.
That book was saran wrapped when I gave it to you. I
Yes,
did
it
not look inside it.
That is
Yes, I know.
awesome. What were the other clues? Not like she needed them.
Well, I didn't really have any yet, but I was gonna, talk about giving advice on, a friend to talk to.
You really need to start pulling
Crazy
the more
about-
vague and obscure clues first.
But I thought that was vague. Brenda, did you know it?
If it has any
No.
sort of identifying detail in it, it's not vague.
Okay. All right. Well. All right. Well, it is. It's
Yay.
Luigi from the Cars franchise.
Yay! Great
Thank you,
job,
Daddy.
Sophie.
Good job,
Thank you, Aunt
Sophie.
Brenda.
Yay.
All right. Well, that brings us to a
All I
little
thought
bit
about
of
was
Walt.
Sebastian Maniscalco, and I couldn't get off of it.
Now,
my mind.
admittedly,
That's all I could
admittedly
see was
there
him
were
doing the
a whole
airport gig.
bunch Admittedly, there were a whole bunch of Italian characters that I had in mind, and so I was just kind of running through them all, and that happened to be the one I said out loud.
There you go. She's got the
Well,
gift.
yep. All right, Brenda, you got a little bit of Walt for us?
I do. To some people, I'm kind of a Merlin who takes lots of crazy chances, but rarely makes mistakes. I've made some bad ones, but fortunately, the successes have come along fast enough to cover up the mistakes. When you go to bat as many times as I do, you're bound to get a good average. That's why I keep my projects diversified. Mr. Walt Disney.
Yeah. Good quote.
He was
Yeah.
always thinking.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to is life has risk involved. You got to calculate the risk to find out if it's worth the potential reward.
Yeah.
But you
But you have to have the courage.
You have to have courage to do it,
Mhm.
So
Thankfully
right.
he did, and we all love him for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friends, that wraps us up for this week. Coming next week, we are going to look at special occasions and birthdays, anniversaries, and how you can celebrate those magical moments in your life at the Disney parks. Sound good, girls?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, I am going to close us out for the week. I want to remind everyone to share a smile, hug your family, okay? This show is being dedicated for my father, so, because we're about to lose him. So, but,
All our prayers to you guys.
thank you. So, share a smile. You don't know whose life it might change. It might make all the difference in the world to someone. We hope you all have a great week. And I'm Mike. She's Sophie. That's Brenda. And he's Grogu. And we will see you on the road. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.